Good evening and welcome to Sunset News on this Sunday evening. As always, we bring you news, community stories, economics, weather and sports. I am Aina Kweyo. In the news tonight, SWAPO President Hage Geingob accused the Popular Democratic Movement of delaying Namibia's independence, saying it collaborated with the then apartheid government. Geingob made the comments at the party's 63rd birthday celebration held in Grootfontein in the Ochonjo-Lupa region. Geingob said SWAPO led an active campaign for Namibia's independence amid accusation that the party has been in power for far too long. There are those who constantly try to attack us by saying that we have been too long in power, but they do not say that when we are fighting, we were fighting for too long. Yet they forget that we in SWAPO mobilized Namibians to wage the bitter and protracted diplomatic and armed struggle for the independence of Namibia. Geingob said SWAPO was successful in its attempts to secure an independence for Namibia, despite the efforts of PDM to undermine such attempts. We succeeded in that historic mission at a time when DTA, now PDM, collaborated with the enemy to keep the majority of Namibians oppressed and underdeveloped. Shame on them, Geingob said. Late last week, MTC announced $800,000 Namibian donation to the Namibian Meteorological Service Center, which is the total value for automated weather stations and for automated rain stations. Now, the station will serve as early warning weather systems and for the Kunene region in Sesfontein, Fransfontein, and Wamkwa, respectively. According to MTC, this donation falls under its socio-environment sustainability project and includes stakeholders, the Environmental Investment, Green Climate Fund, IREMA project, and the Ministry of Work and Transport. MTC's executive team Ekanjo during the handover noted that primarily to mitigate climate change effects, Namibia needs to leverage technology. Urban and Rural Development Minister Erastus Utoni blasted local authorities that it is counterproductive to have an acting chief executive officer in an organization for a period of 2 or 3 years. Now, Utoni said, worst of all, sometimes such CEOs are appointed from lower level staff members. He made the remarks recently in Tsumeba at the official opening of the 20th Namibian Association of Local Authority Official Annual General Meeting. Officials from the Association for Local Authorities in Namibia also attended the meeting after their just ended blueprint on accelerating land and housing delivery in Namibia. The minister said it is very disheartening to witness the level of infighting and political squabbling in local government sector, especially over the last 3 years. Now, moving on to our next story, Ovaherero Traditional Authority Chief Muchende Kachua says members of the Nama and Ovaherero community should forcefully remove statues celebrating the Nama Ovaherero genocide if those in whose towns and cities these statues are fail to do so. Kachua made the remarks at the Genocide Remembrance Day in Lüderitz this past weekend. Government's failure to adequately deal with the ancestral land issue was enough reason for him to conclude that it had no intention to uplift the statue of the Nama and Ovaherero people. Kachua cited an example in which the late OTA Paramount Chief Advocate Vekui Rukoro and the Chief Simon Petrus Cooper of the Kai Kaun tribe had asked the Swakopmund municipality to remove statues commemorating the genocide. In our community segment, a man has committed suicide at Baywatch. We'll be right back with this story and more.
Hey, don't worry about the car, boss. I checked nice.
Thank you, but it's okay, ne? F&B insurance.
Check's nicer.
No.
At FNB Insurance, we provide cover for all your valuables, from your car to your laptop to your phone. FNB Insurance. You value it, we cover it. T's and C's apply.
In our community talk this evening, a man allegedly committed suicide on Saturday morning at Baywatch, a local spot in Oneuptwo, where people can gather when passing leisure time. Oshana Police spokesperson Inspector Thomas Ayambo said Amutenya Jeremiah, a resident of Okatope village near Oneuptwo, walked and drowned into the man-made dam, which is surrounded by lots of trees naturally for shade and resting area about 7 a.m. Now, Ayambo said Jeremiah was seen by the security guard who is watching the Baywatch area. The security guard allegedly shouted at him, trying to stop him from going into the water since swimming is prohibited as well as fishing in the dam. However, he just proceeded until he sank under the water, he said. Ayambo said no foul play is suspected into the matter and no suicide note was left behind. His next of kin were informed. Ayambo said Jeremiah's family member told the police that he had tried to commit suicide several times. His body was removed from the water by the member of police Special Reserve Force divers and transported to Oshakati Police Mortuary for post-mortem examination. In our economic news, SA honors power deal with Namibia.
Muscle and joint pain should not be the reason you can't perform at your best.
Norflex Gel.
It also shouldn't be the reason you miss that important deadline.
Norflex Gel.
Or miss those precious moments that matter the most.
Norflex Gel.
Norflex Gel penetrates through the skin, numbing the area and relieving pain and inflammation. Norflex Gel is now available in the pharmacy aisle and in supermarkets. New Norflex Gel Fort is available for stronger anti-inflammatory action.
Beat the pain with Norflex Gel.
In our economic news tonight, as pressure mounts on the South African government to find solution to the country's energy crisis, that country's electricity minister Khoisenzo Ramakgopa reiterated over the weekend that South Africa will fulfill its electricity supply obligation to Namibia and had no plans to pull the plug on its neighbor. Despite its own energy problems, South Africa is locked in a power purchase agreement with Namibia, one which has in recent months been a subject of public debate, with some quarters questioning why South Africa is not declaring a force majeure on the deal in order to satisfy its domestic electricity demand. Speaking on the margins of the African National Congress National Executive Committee meeting over the weekend, Ramakgopa pledged that SA will see out the agreement, which expires in 2025. Now we take a look at our economic indicators. The Namibian dollar now trades at 18 Namibian dollars 19 cents to the US and 90 Namibian dollars 93 cents to the euro. It trades at 22 Namibian dollars 59 cents to the pound and 2 Namibian dollars 64 cents buys you 1 Chinese yuan. Zinc is down by 1.93% and Brent crude oil is up by 0.48%, trading at $85.14 per barrel. In our international news slot, we talk about the US, who has removed their diplomats from Sudan.
Sing it!
In our international news, President Joe Biden on Saturday said that the U.S. government personnel had been evacuated from Sudan. Today, on my orders, the United States military conducted an operation to extract U.S. government personnel from Khartoum, Biden said in a statement. In a separate statement, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that all U.S. personnel and their families had been evacuated and that operations at the U.S. Embassy in Khartoum have been temporarily suspended. A group of just over 100 personnel operation forces were involved in the extraction. The operation was led by U.S. Africa Command and conducted in close coordination with the State Department, said Lloyd Austin, the U.S. Secretary of Defense. The decision to evacuate the American personnel comes after a week of heavy fighting between rival military factions, the Sudanese Armed Forces and the Rapid Support Forces, which has left hundreds of people dead and thousands wounded. We return shortly with the weather predictions for tomorrow. Here are the weather predictions for tomorrow. Partly cloudy is expected in the north with Ainana at 31 degrees and Rakana will be cloudy with 30 degrees. A partly cloudy weather is expected along the coast with a high of 22 degrees in Falfish Bay and 21 degrees in Hentis Bay. In our sports section tonight, we talk AFCON and so much more. In our sports news tonight, Botswana says it is still undecided on whether it will proceed on its own to try and land the 2027 African Cup of Nations tournament hosting rights that the country's sports minister Tumiso Rakhare told Namibian Sun yesterday. This comes days after its co-host Namibia withdrew its intention to be part of the bid because it cannot afford the 4.8 billion Namibian dollar price tag required to develop adequate infrastructure for the continental football showpiece. Now, the two countries were supposed to submit their joint bid ahead of next month's deadline. We cannot conclude yet. Once we convene, we will address the problem. This will be in the coming 2 weeks, Rakhare said during a telephonic interview. Namibia had terminated a joint bid after the Namibian government failed to approve the budget bid cost according to the consultancy company. Ongwadiba Town Council on Friday donated sports equipment to Oshana Basketball School project with the aim of promoting social welfare and donation, which is worth 7,000 Namibian dollars, is part of the Council's social responsibility to promote the economic advancement and recreational as well as the leisure activities of communities within the area of Oneuptwo. Now, Oneuptwo Chief Executive Officer Damien Egumbo said this is also part of their continued efforts to promote the health of the community through the sports while promoting leisure activities within the area of Oneuptwo. Council Deputy Mayor Ulalia Katonyala said they are committed to always aligning their priorities to the organized groups in the town. Now moving on to our next story. 5 matches were completed this past weekend in the Deb Marine Soccer Premiership of the Namibian Football Association, where Civics were victorious on Friday, while Life Fighters achieved an excellent victory against Blue Waters in Otjiwarongo on Saturday. The local heroes, Life Fighters, thrashed Blue Waters from Falfish Bay by 4-0. Julino Sporting against 11 Arrows as well as Citizen versus Young African had to settle for a draw, while African Stars and Tigers achieved a goalless result. The weekend results are as follows. Friday at the Commercial Stadium, Black Africa 1 goal versus Civics 2 goals in Khobabesa. At the Lekgare Stadium, 1 Africa 1 versus Citizens 1. On Saturday in Otjiwarongo at the Makati Stadium, Life Fighters 4 versus Blue Waters 0. At the Rundu Stadium, Julino Sporting 1 versus 11 Arrows 1. In the capital, at the SKW Stadium, African Stars 0 versus Tigers 0. Now we will return with the highlights shortly.
Newsprint Namibia is a web offset printing operation that specializes in the printing of newspapers and commercial inserts. We are the leaders in our industry with the highest quality print work and the shortest turnaround time from computer to print and delivery anywhere in the country daily. Newsprint was established mainly as a newspaper print company, but had to diversify its business to do commercial printing as required in the market. We print commercial inserts previously printed in South Africa in the shortest possible time. We, as an organization, also started printing workbooks for our education system and will also print textbooks for the Namibian market. For more information, please contact print@newsprint.com.
The My.NA Cars Show provides viewers with the best-in-class cars content, engaging interviews, as well as a showcase of the latest cars-related news, products, and services. My.NA Cars aims to reach the car enthusiasts and all motoring industries, focusing on motoring news, test drives, maintenance, fast finance, accessorides, and more. This show is broadcasted on NTV, Oneuptwo.com, and cross-shared on the following Facebook platforms: The Republican, Algemene Zeitung, and Namibia Media Holdings. Contact My.NA at synergy.com.na to share your motoring news or to advertise your motoring product and service. My.NA Cars, more than just a ride.
The Evening Review is a daily interview-based talk show that dissects and expounds on current affairs as they occur in Namibia. The show aims at reaching Namibians of all age groups who seek better understanding of the state of current affairs in the country. This show is broadcasted on NTV, Oneuptwo.com, and cross-shared on the following Facebook platforms: Namibian Sun and Namibia Media Holdings. The Evening Review focuses on interviews, latest news, and up-to-the-minute current events. Contact Evening at synergy.com.na. Evening Review, unpacking today's pertinent issues.
Namibia's hospitality is as vibrant as its people. Join the What's Cooking team as they travel the country cooking, chatting, and celebrating local personalities and the joy of food. If you think you have a standout offering, whether it's a restaurant, bar, pop-up event, or braai stand, get in touch with the What's Cooking team at cooking@synergy.com.na and we will be there to show the world what's cooking. Programs air every Friday at 4 p.m. on all the NMH Facebook platforms, as well as on NTV, DSTV channel 285, and GoTV channel 94 at 9 p.m.
Let's have a look at our highlights. SWAPO President Hage Geingob has accused the Popular Democratic Movement of delaying Namibia's independence, saying it collaborated with the then apartheid government. Geingob made the comment at the party's 63rd birthday celebration held in Grootfontein in the Otshontsholupa region. As pressure mounts on the South African government to find a solution to the country's energy crisis, that country's electricity minister Ramakgopa reiterated over the weekend that South Africa will fulfill its electricity supply obligation to Namibia and had no plan to pull the plug on its neighbor. Botswana says it is still undecided on whether it will proceed on its own to try and land the 2027 African Cup of Nations tournament hosting rights. That country's sports minister Tomiso Raghkago told Namibian Sun. And with that, we've come to the end of tonight's broadcast. Please do make sure you join Sunset News on Facebook and all NMH platforms on weekdays, as well as on our website, which is called Oneuptwo. Sunset News screens on DSTV channel 285, as well as GoTV channel 25 every weekday from 7:30 p.m. to 8 p.m. This has been Sunset News. I am your host, Aina Koyo. Please don't end your day without us. Good night.